DJ, can you give me some more?
Hi, I'm Amanda Mason and welcome back to my Broadway backyard, and this is the Halloween edition. I have my new friend here and I'm so excited to be sharing with you some information that I learned about Halloween that I actually didn't know. So Halloween originated 2,000 years ago, and it started with the Celtics, and they created this festivity for autumn on November 1st. And they believed the night before their festival called Samhain that the lines between the living and the dead were blurred so that spirits and ghosts could actually roam the earth. So in order to invite friendly ghosts and ghosts of their deceased relatives, they would leave gifts and food on the doorsteps. They would make up a seat for them at the table with food, and they would also wear masks when they walked out of their house in order to not be terrorized by the evil spirits. So they protected themselves and sort of shielded and disguised themselves so the ghosts wouldn't know who was who, which is really interesting. And they also lit candles in order for the spirits to find their way back to the spirit world. And so that's kind of where a lot of the candles started, and this whole idea behind ghosts roaming the earth on Halloween. So what's also interesting is the 18th century came along and the Christian church turned it into All Saints Day, then it became All Hallows Eve, and that became now what we know today, Halloween. So it's been interesting how it's progressed over the years and how it's changed, but still keeping the same origin and traditions. So something else that's really interesting is during the medieval times, something called souling is what happened, and all of the really needy people that needed food would go around and ask for soul cakes, and it was a type of pastry, and in return for that they would pray for the family's deceased relatives and their spirit. Another thing called ghouling is where in the medieval times kids would dress up and go house to house, and they would get food and candy and sweets, as long as it's not as long, but as in return for singing, speaking poetry, or telling jokes. So that's kind of where the costumes came up, which is really cool. I find that really interesting. Hey, you get paid by food, but it's also a fun way for kids to really get involved, and it's in the medieval times. Can you believe they were doing that back then? Those kids were trick-or-treating and they didn't even know it. So trick-or-treating actually came around during the 1950s. So it was revised when the Irish and Scottish immigrants came into the United States, and they brought their traditions with them, like tricking and doing the fun trick-or-treats. That was really cool how it all started to come over in the United States with the immigrants, and that's beautiful because I'm a little Scottish and a little Irish, so I feel a little trick-or-treatish, and so I'm so excited. So there's some other traditions and origins that I also want to bring up. So another tradition we have is the jack-o'-lantern. As you can see, you might be able to see the smoke. It was so cute. I had to see if I could carve it, and it works. So you can carve these small little jack-o'-lanterns. The only issue is that the candle keeps going out, and yeah. So anyways, but it's cute and it worked out really well. So I'm sorry if you can see all the smoke coming out of this pumpkin. Well, it's just there. Now it's officially extinguished. Okay. So this tradition started in Ireland. It originated there, and it was based on a story about a guy named Stingy Jack. Now he trapped the devil and said that he would let him go if the devil promised him he wouldn't go to hell when he passed, like his soul would go on to heaven. Well, after years of, bad behavior and devilish dealings, when he passed away, heaven didn't want his soul either. So he was punished and had to roam the earth for all eternity as a ghost. So basically in purgatory, in darkness. And so his good old friend, the devil, gave him a bag of coal. And back then, they would cut turnips, which is kind of funny, but now it's jack-o'-lanterns, which I think are a better idea. But anyway, so he cut a turnip and he put his coal inside, and that's how he was able to, find his way. That's where his light source came from. So in order to keep away the evil spirits and the weird evil Jack, people would actually cut out scary faces in their turnips, and I guess they also started using pumpkins as well to keep away the evil spirits. So that's what this is all about. This one's not very scary looking, but it's cute. So jack-o'-lantern, another Halloween origin and tradition. Okay, something else that was really interesting. So during the Celtics festivities, they would have massive bonfires, and the bonfires would attract insects, and the insects would attract the bats. So that's why bats became known as the harbingers of death, because they were at every single, this one's kind of cute, they were at every single festivity because they were always looking for the insects. So that's how bats became, a big deal. I wonder, I'll have to look more into it to see where Dracula and the bats came from, but that's kind of how bats originated as a Halloween sort of evil thing. It's cute. All right, so something else. So we have the black color and the orange color. Those are like the Halloween traditional colors. And those are actually symbolic. The black means the death of summer, and orange means the new autumn harvest season. So if you ever wondered what the black and orange really symbolized, it was that of the harvest. So we keep going back 2,000 years ago into now. Let's see what else. So the candy corn, that's interesting. It was made in, let's see, let me check my dates. So it was made in around like 1890, but it was brought more to public eye in 1898. It was called chicken feed, was the type of candy. And chicken feed, made by Wonderly Candy Company, actually had a tagline, something worth crowing about. Chicken feed, something worth crowing about. Really interesting. It didn't become an official holiday candy until the 1950s, which is when trick-or-treating really took off. That's where it became really commercialized and everything, became about trick-or-treating. So one of the traditions and superstitions are black cats. So one of the reasons why black cats were feared is because they actually thought that witches turned into black cats in order to be avoided by being detected. Also, witches that were persecuted in Salem and around the world were found with cats, and also black cats. So it kind of started this weird superstition. So if you don't want to cross a black cat's path, I think cats are really lucky to have, especially black cats. That's what I hear. But they're just kitties. You should treat them all with respect. But it's kind of interesting how that all started. Back in the day, they thought black was a sign of the devil as well. So when with black cats, because that was always associated with witches. But so that's kind of where that came from. Now I think they're the most adorable things in the world. This is one of my Halloween decorations, and I put a bow. Yeah, he's fancy. Another thing is walking under ladders. So what's interesting is, breaking mirrors and whatnot, but I always had this superstition of don't walk under ladders. One, it's unsafe. I think that's probably one of the reasons why people say that. But also I found out is that in Egyptian culture, or must have come from the Egyptians, that triangles were sacred. And so, you know, affecting the triangle or whatnot and walking under a ladder was something that they believe was carried down through the Egyptians. Did not know that. And so I am so excited again for this Halloween. Now, I'm not going to be dressed as this. I'm going to go as a different character, which I'd be happy to take pictures and post them. So keep an eye of what I'm going to be this year for Halloween. And don't forget to include these original items for your Halloween party. The black cat, your jack-o'-lantern, your bat, candied apples, because they're delicious, or would you like an apple, darling? Snow White brings you back. It should be more red though, but they'll get over that. And don't forget to light your way for all of the spirits to find their way back home. And I hope that you have a wonderful and safe Halloween. I'll be posting more videos of more information that I can come up with. I'm going to have some friends come over. We're going to carve some more bigger pumpkins, so that'll be a lot of fun. But until then, thank you for joining me. If you have any questions or comments, please comment below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And also don't forget to subscribe to my Broadway Backyard.